Okay, guys, I believe we're live. So, tonight we have Dot on the chat, who is here to tell her story in regards to her relationship with Derek Gordon Heggie. Now, before we go into that, I'll just give you a quick insight into why I'm here and what it means to me personally. So, in my own life, Heggie contacted me in order to go on his podcast. And I was pretty clear from the off that I was aware of some trolling stuff online, of which I was absolutely assured was all fraudulent and stuff. Hindsight's a great thing. We're not all blessed with it. And in retrospect, having done my homework on him and had the podcast removed, I am here because he lied to my face and hid the most disgusting, devious behaviours and thought that he could continue to dupe guys like myself and build a podcast and try and compete with other podcasters and build a legitimate reputation and a name for himself as a decent guy. But he's not a decent guy. He's an absolute scumbag. And everything that you're going to hear tonight is 100% verified. It's backed up with numerous police reports. All the dates have been checked out. Everything I say is the truth. Everything you're going to hear is the truth. And I will stake everything I have on it tonight, that what you hear is 100% accurate information directly from a survivor of this guy. So I'm going to bring Dot into the chat. I'm going to introduce Dot to you. Hope everyone is in support. And we're going to get right into it. And it's not going to be easy for her. And what she's doing here is a massively brave thing. And John and Donna are hosting it because they've been in this from the beginning and they will be here till the end. So, Dot, I want to talk to you now. And I just want to start by saying thank you for doing this. This will be a massive strength to other women out there who have unfortunately became entangled with this guy.
Yeah,
So,
I just want to say thanks to everyone and the support, Alex.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's all right, Dot. We're here for you. All of us are here for you, nobody else. So, Dot, we're going to start from the very beginning. We're going to go back to 2012. And I just want you to tell us just a little bit about your life at that point and the initial meeting with this guy. You've told me before, I know the story, but just let's hear it from you, Dot, how you came across him.
Yeah, I was an outgoing girl, loved my horse riding, confident in every way, held a brilliant job, never been unemployed, apart from at this time in 2012 where I was made redundant after 11 years. So I had a friend, a very close friend, and we went out into town in Carlisle, had a drink. One drink, we'd been to the pictures and I was driving back home. Bumped into this person. Numbers was exchanged. As I headed off, he went the opposite direction. Later on into that night, I got halfway home with my friend in the car. My phone had rang. My friend answered it, and it was him. Wanted to know if I would turn back and take him back home. He'd missed the taxi, couldn't get a taxi. I'm very reluctant. Friend reassured us. Biggest mistake. So I turned around and picked him up. Didn't want to go back to his own home. He wanted to come back to mine. And that's how it all started.
Yep. As it does. Simple as that. So, Dot, you started to see this. You started to see Heggie, and I'm going to keep naming him, and that might seem uncomfortable, but there's a very good reason for it. I don't want anybody to forget his three-barreled name, Derek Gordon Heggie. That's who we're speaking tonight about, guys. We're speaking about a monster who's duping the public every single day of his life, telling us he's a decent guy, when he's got a 55-page legitimate acro detailing his entire criminal history, which is 90% abusive towards females, amongst other horrible things: deception, theft, arson, racism. He's just a piece of shit. But tonight we're only interested in his history with females, his violent history with females. So, when you started to see him, Dot,
Yeah.
how long before he got his feet under the table with you, and how long did it take before alarm bells started to ring?
It didn't take him long at all, Alex. He was back and forth to his own home in Carlisle, then coming back to mine, staying the night. And then eventually, 2 or 3 months down the line, he was actually living with me at that point. It didn't take long at all.
Now, Dot, when we spoke initially,
Yeah.
when you reached out, we discussed this, and you told me you had a long-term relationship,
Yeah.
and that had kind of came to an end and stuff, as they do many times.
Yeah.
And you had felt, in a way, you know, you'd kind of like maybe initially just been flattered that this guy had just kind of stopped you out the blue and kind of like asked you out and stuff. And I completely get that.
Yeah.
And you just felt that, you know, what harm could be done here by, you know, going out for a few dates with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
So you were just unsuspecting and just looking forward to having a few dates, really. And you were never to know what you were letting yourself in for, and people don't. Nobody does. So we're 3 months down the line.
Mm-hmm.
When did it become physical, Doc? I know there was mental stuff. I know he was having certain behaviours repeatedly, kind of coercive stuff, and just kind of, you know, trying to dictate the narrative to you, and maybe he was kind of putting you under pressure, I believe. But when did it first become physical? Bearing in mind we're only 3 months in here.
Yeah, there was an awful lot that went on. I find it very difficult, Alex. It's been locked away for such a long time, and I had moved on. I was 90% of the way into my healing after 2012, going back as far as that. It was just the nudges, the little pushes.
Yeah.
The pushes became into larger pushes. The kicks, the spitting directly into your face. And at this point, I just became pretty much weak right away. Very intimidated.
Asserting his dominance on you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Make no mistake. Absolutely. And bear in mind, I was an outgoing, confident lady.
Yeah. So, for the record, guys, I'm in no way qualified to host this. I'm a man. I'm 45. I've got a failed relationship, but we're in good terms. I've never been violent to a woman in my life. And I've had 3 girlfriends, and any of them would say the same thing. I despise it. I absolutely despise it. I despise violence against women. It's the lowest form of man that will clench his fists and be violent to a woman. It fucking, excuse my language, but it disgusts me. And what goes on behind closed doors with arguments and stuff, it's of no concern to anybody. But when it gets violent and when it gets vicious, then it's everybody's business. And as men, if we say nothing and look the other way and we know what's happening, then we're part of the problem. So I'm making a stand against it. And that's why I'm here. I'm here for Dot. I'm here to bring this guy to an end once and for all. So we know it's getting physical, Dot. We know about his behaviours because there are other women out there that you don't know about that are coming forward. And they're all saying the same thing about him. That's his modus operandi, his MO. It's his behaviour. It's how he views women. He views women as commodities, servitude to service him. That's it. There's nothing else in it. I'm learning all the time, guys. I'm reading about this and I'm educating myself on who and what he is. And I'll be honest with you, it's terrifying that he's never done a very long prison sentence.
Yeah.
It really, really puts our justice system in a bad light that this guy can have a 55-page criminal history and he's walking the streets. So we already know who he is, Doc. You already knew who he was 3 months into the relationship. There's concerns. However, because we've spoke before, I know that you were immediately under that spell.
Oh, absolutely, Alex.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I did not ever think I could be as weak as I was and made to feel nothing.
Fear creates weakness. And I've been in his company, and although I didn't find him intimidating, that's because I'm a man and I've been around violence all my life. But for any woman looking at that guy, the size of him, the build of him, he is a very intimidating prospect for any woman. That goes without saying. You would be a fool not to be intimidated by a guy who is on the other side of 18 stone, who's full of cocaine, full of steroids, full of anything else he can get his hands on, with no respect for you. That's a scary proposition. So he's becoming everything that you thought he was not.
Yeah. Very fast too.
It happened really quick. You've told me this. There was an incident, Dot, involving a witness, his brother.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the incident.
Yeah. That person decided to meet up with a few of his friends in Carlisle. He asked me if I could pick him up at midnight. It was like, damned if I do, damned if I don't. What do I do? He's not rang me. Should I just stay at home? If I stay at home, will he be annoyed? Will I cop it? So midnight came, still no reply, no answer to his phone. And all I could think of, if I don't turn up, what will happen? So I got myself in the car and I drove and I just guessed the place. And he was walking up the road, got in the car, and he asked me if I wanted to stay at his for the night. And bear in mind, I'd never met his parents by then. He'd spoke to them about me. So I stayed over the night, felt very uncomfortable, didn't sleep. He was part drunk, part whatever else. So I stayed awake most of the night. And because of the abuse, what has happened back at my home, I was very wary of even getting out of the bed and going over to the bathroom, because it would be a question of what you're doing, where you're going. So I held on and held on. He went over to the bathroom. So I'd gone downstairs. As I went downstairs, I went into the kitchen. The fridge door opened, the fridge door closed, and a fist right across my face, put me through to the other side of the kitchen. Sorry.
All right, take your time.
And I thought, wow, his face was just completely blank.
Just out of the blue.
Out of the blue, and within 2 or 3 seconds, his brother stood there, and I said, he's just hit me. His brother seen the blood coming from my mouth. I couldn't move my jaw, couldn't open my jaw.
Now, I know that to this day, Dot, you've got problems with your jaw.
Big problems, yes.
And I know that you wear an alignment gum shield, and I know that your dentist knows that it was caused by a blunt trauma to your face.
Yeah, that's right, Alex. I didn't see anybody too frightened to go to the GPs or anything. The repercussions of where have you been, all that starts over again. Yes, I eventually went to my dentist, had both teeth, bottom teeth removed. I've been under the orthodontics in the city, the oral surgeon. Quite developed osteoporosis in the left side of my face, with like a hairline fracture under my cheekbone. Whether that was due to the blow. It's not fixable, but it's very painful still.
Yep.
Very painful. Still have a lot of problems.
Yep.
Yeah, I've got a plate fitted in the bottom, and I wear a gum shield through the night because of me grinding in my teeth because of the pain.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah. And Dot, what was his brother's reaction to that? Because I know his brother's fearful of him.
Quite shocking.
Yeah.
Yes. What did you do that for? That was it.
Yeah.
That was it.
So these types of things were commonplace.
Yeah.
I know about his behaviours, Dot, and I know that if I get too deep, I know that you'll stop me.
Yeah.
Because the last thing I want to do is open old wounds. However, we get one opportunity to let the public know who this guy is. And every single thing you've told me, I've done my damnedest to have it verified and checked out and all the rest of it. And the incidents that you told me about, those dates, were on the acro before the acro was released. So I know you're the very person that's on that paperwork.
I am.
So for anybody out there that is doubtful, I've got the acro. Yeah, we obtained it fraudulently. It was really easy to obtain because these civilian organisations make mistakes every day in life. My acro is coming to me just now, ordered by a third party. As easy as that. So they make mistakes. I'll be posting mine to verify who I am. So Dot,
yeah,
police intervention. Tell me about the first time that the police were called, and tell us about the incident that prompted you to eventually lift the phone to the police.
Shocking as it may sound, Alex, there's 5 police stations in Cumbria what have has information on the one person sitting here.
Yep, I know this to be true.
And out of all the calls I ever called them, just the once.
Yeah.
The rest of the phone calls were people that out in the public domain and my adjoining neighbours either side who made all those phone calls.
Yeah, I know about one of your neighbours. He appears on the acro for one of the racial things.
Yeah.
Verified again. And I also have some friends in the communities down around where you lived at.
Yeah.
Some guys I've known for many years. And you're very well liked in your community, Dot, and you're very well respected in your community.
Yeah.
And Derek Gordon Heggies despised. He's despised from the east coast to the west coast, along that whole line of communities and towns and right into the border city, Carlisle. He's despised across the board. I wonder why that is. I wonder how we can all be wrong about this guy and he's the only person that's right about him. That's a great conundrum. How every single person can be wrong about him. And I'm talking about men that own gyms in their mid-60s. I've known him for over 20 years. When he was a young steroid-using doorman, and he was useless at that, where he picked up his first sex offence for abusing his position of trust. And from there on, it just spiralled into a lifetime's one big episode, one thing after another. It's astonishing that he's never been done a long prison sentence. It's absolutely astonishing. I cannot understand why he's not in jail, because that acro is 100% legitimate and it reads like a horror comic. So, Dot, you had a year-long relationship with Derek Gordon Heggie.
Yeah.
And we've spoke at length, you and me, about a lot of the real sinister behaviours that he had. Now, I know them all.
Yeah.
But it's up to you what you tell us about, Dot.
Yeah.
Because this is your chance. This is your chance, Dot, to tell your story. So, at best tonight, it will be a massive warning to any woman thinking of getting into a relationship with this guy. And at worst, we might achieve nothing, but you'll have had your pound of flesh.
Yeah, I'll just take a drink, Alex.
You take a drink, you take a minute, Dot, no problem. You take your time. So, guys, as you can see, this is a very, very, very brave thing Dot's doing tonight. And we've been talking about it for months. And we've been trying to find a way to do it. And I'm definitely not the best person for this. But I'm a guy, I'm a man. And I'm 45. And at my age, whatever it be, maybe it's age, I don't know what it is. But I'm embarrassed. I'm actually embarrassed that females can be in so much fear of men, while some is sit and do nothing. I'm not prepared to sit and do nothing about this.
Thank you for that, Alec. That means a lot. Yeah. That means a lot to a lot of women out there, because I think, and I'm just sorry to chip in. I think it's really, when I was speaking to Dot, and I've spoken to my own experiences and I've spoken to other women and etc. But one of the things that I think upsets women and invalidates everybody that's impacted by any sort of abusive relationship is that people that turn a blind eye because it's one of the boys, or oh, it's only Uncle Freddie or whatever, they're complicit. And so by you owning how you feel about that, I just wanted to say thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Alec.
A long time ago, when I was maybe around about my early to mid-20s, I was aware of a guy in my community who I didn't like. We always kind of rubbed each other up the wrong way because we were both quite physically imposing and we could both handle ourselves. So we always had a thing. And although that thing never came to anything, really, I knew that at one point he was beating a girl up. A girl I knew well. And she was covering for him. But I knew it was happening.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm ashamed to say that I should have knocked 10 bells out of him every time I seen him, and I didn't.
But that's because it probably challenged your values.
I'll put it down to naivety, and I'll put it down to age, and I'll put it down to maybe then you're just uneducated as to really what you should be standing up for. And at times I stood up for the wrong people, for the wrong reasons. And I really wish today I had made an example of him. But that's that. It was a long time ago. I can do something about this now. So I'm in this to the end for Dot.
Which is excellent. And one of the things I think when Dot and I were talking, we sort of had a short conversation about this, is there's a lot of shame associated with domestic violence or sexual assault. And that shame isn't the victim's shame, but the invalidating behavior, I think sometimes propagates that. And it propagates it in young men that are witnessing it, or young men that are minimizing it, older men that are minimizing it. And what you're saying here is the first step to people, being able to shrug off that shame, even if it's just a tiny, tiny bit. If one tiny bit of shame comes away, just hearing a man or somebody say, I knew that was happening, I'm ashamed, you've taken on that shame. And I'm not saying that you should be full of shame. What I'm saying is it wasn't the victim's fault, just as this isn't. People throw all sorts of things around, as I'm sure you've heard about this person. And it isn't, why isn't he in jail? That isn't the victim's shame. That is the constabulary's shame, and everybody that's been complicit by minimizing his behavior.
Yeah. And you're 100%, Donna. And it's a difficult thing for me to speak about, because I'm asking the viewers to take me at my word, and they don't know me from Adam. It's easy enough to see me in my YouTube channel, living my life and talking about my kids and doing this and doing that, right? But see, at the end of the day, they don't know me. Mm-hmm. So the best that I can do is show my criminal history and say, well, look, when I was 30, I got arrested for chinning a copper. When I was 25, I got arrested for fighting in a nightclub. But look, guys, there is never anything towards children or endangering women, kids. There's no violence to any lesser members of society, mindless violence on unsuspecting people, breaking taxi drivers' jaws for no reason, right? Just low-life, despicable crimes. He's got 55 pages of this. Mm-hmm. Please believe me, guys. Please believe me. I stand on every word I say. I will never, ever deviate from this guy. And he is everything that we've said he is and more. We're only scratching the surface right now. John and Donna have put 3 years in this guy. And I have my ups and downs with John, the humble dryer, because I think he's wasting his time having beef with other people. When he concentrates on this one guy, he absolutely nails it every time. But then he gets caught up in the YouTube traffic. And I keep giving him a hard time, saying, you're wasting your time, don't do this, don't do that, let's go after one guy. And I think I just wear my heart on my sleeve. And if I've got something to say, I need to say it. But what
I think also to a certain extent, you're simplifying it, because where this has created traction, other people have come to us and spoken to us about other things. And whatever John does, John will be criticised for. It's a very precarious environment. But right now, this is about Dot. And this is about ensuring that Dot is validated by the people around her, saying, you're right to have felt afraid. And don't listen to these people, or don't, they shouldn't have said that. They shouldn't have done that. these things gain traction. You're coercively controlled. You're in a situation where you've got perhaps a trauma bond with someone and you can't leave. It's not that easy. It's not that easy.
Not when you're terrified, Donna.
No, it's not. Exactly.
I've shared a room with the guy. I've sat on a couch with him.
100%.
And I'll say it again. He is a big prospect for anybody.
And you're not the only man to have said that to us.
He's a big, listen, I can handle my own affairs. Men don't intimidate me. But he's a big prospect for anybody. He would take a lot of putting away. I would love a bite at the cherry with him, right? I can't even begin to describe my hatred for this guy. And if he engages me after tonight, brilliant. And feel free to engage me, Derek Gordon Heggie. You're right up my street. I'm the very guy for you. And that's no YouTube chat. I can turn the clock back 10 years like that. And that's not the tough guy talk that he does. It would be a very, very different fight for him. I'm not talking about a physical fight. He can't do anything with them. I can beat him with that and that every single day of the week, twice on a Sunday.
But that's another part of it, Alec. In as much as I know, but your very raw feelings about that, where you've spoken to Dot and you've perhaps spoken to other people, you've seen the acro, you've spoken to us, you've spoken to this one and the next one, you've been in his company. And so when I'm going to speak from my own experience, this isn't something that Dot has said to me. When somebody says, oh, go on, I'll go and smash him up or I'll go and kick his door in, that's triggering because it's violence, creating violence. It's not helpful.
That's why I'm trying to find other ways, Donna. I want him.
We spoke about this, didn't we, the other night? You've got to practice self-care.
It's got to be prison for him. Violence is repugnant, right? It is. Mindless, needless violence is repugnant. It's probably the only language he understands because he's very, very good at dishing it out. But when it's returned tenfold with true intent, I'm not talking about in a controlled environment on his terms. I'm talking about the dark arts. I'm talking about maybe in the terms that I used to live my life on with people like him. It's not an environment he would be comfortable in. But I want to move away from that because...
Yeah, let's move on from that. Let's move on from it. It's not good.
I want to take my venom from him. So, Dot, we've kind of got to the point where you're deep in the relationship with him. And we know about all the coercive behaviour, the manipulation,
the extreme, Alex, where the toilet, using the bathroom, showering, cleaning your teeth, watching the TV. The TV was actually removed from my lounge up into the bedroom, so I was left with nothing. My friend brought a magazine round one night. It was ripped in shreds within 10 minutes of her leaving. He checked every single page to see if there was a man in there before he gave it, and then he ripped it up in front of me.
And he also had a habit of asking you to not sleep in the bed, Dot. Explain that one.
Yeah. He liked to take up the bed, put it that way. I had a dog. The dog came before me. I used to sleep lying on my side. That's how much space I had in the bed. It still affects me now.
Yeah.
He put a comb in my hand and combed every single part of his hair, and it could last for hours until he fell asleep. And this was every night.
The fuck, man. And he also ordered you at some stages when he was fidgeting to get out and sleep on the floor.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Which is just disgusting in your home.
Yeah. Just took over.
He took your television from the living room up into the bedroom, because we know, his followers know, that he loves lying in his bed, because before he's anything, he's a dosser. He's never out his bed, and he likes his comfortable life because he's got this this self kind of gratification where he's full of self entitlement. He believes he's entitled to the best of everything in life. I believe I've got to get up in the morning and go and earn a living, or I don't eat on a Friday.
Yeah.
He doesn't live in that world. So he took your television from your living room in your home, made the bedroom comfortable to suit him, and then would let you sit downstairs in the dark and shout you to come up at the end of the night.
Or ring my mobile phone to say.
Yeah, when he was ready to go to sleep, when he'd had his fill of television.
Yeah, and...
You told me, and I've never forgot it. I can't forget it.
It's when I reached the top of the stairs, Alex, and the door opened and the TV was on. Dare I look at that TV? Dare I look at that TV? I'm sorry. I don't have a TV license now. I don't watch the TV.
I noticed that about you. You never ever talk about television.
No,
or
never.
Programs or nothing. You don't. You just sit and you do your thing.
Yeah.
I noticed that. I picked up on that.
Yeah.
Dot.
Yeah.
I'm just going to quickly say something. For any men that's on this live just now.
Yeah.
Right. Me and John are pursuing this guy. I know John's heart's in this for the right reason. I know that much about him. Say what you want about him. I know he's in this for the right reason, right? He is in this for the right reason. If there's any men in this live just now, guys, if you are not currently disgusted with what you're hearing about what a man is doing to women in our name, then, you need to give your heads a shake.
It was...
We need to get on this guy. Everybody, share this far and wide, please, everybody. And let's get Derek Gordon Heggies' name up in lights where it belongs. When you go, Dot.
Yeah, it was bad. Behind closed doors, you will never know what went on in there. The curtains never opened. I couldn't go out and peg washing out unless there'd be really been on the back of me. Who am I meeting out there? The shower was available at work for me to take a shower because I could see clearly.
Dot, he was phoning you from a clinic, wasn't he? And ordering you to make payments for treatments he was receiving.
Yeah, that was for Botox.
Yeah, Botox that he claims he's never had until last month. We're going back to 2012, 10 years ago. That clinic existed. I checked it all out. Remember I told you everything you tell me, I'll have to check it out. Not because I disbelieve you, but I have to know that what I'm saying is factual, because somebody somewhere is going to critique me and scrutinise every word out of my mouth.
Yourself, Alex, has seen as much evidence as I could possibly show you.
There's no doubt in my mind, Doc. There's no. You've left no doubt. I know what he is.
It was bad behind closed doors. It was bad in the doctor's surgery in his own town, in his own city. I was escorted out by the members of staff. He was not at all happy with himself. So the members of staff had escorted me back safely to my car. Lots of instances. The driving of my car. When he's saying he can't drive, he bloody well can drive. I'm sorry.
Well, I know he can drive. I've seen.
We were surrounded by police cars in Carlisle. He kept dragging the steering wheel from my hand until I damaged my thumb.
Yep.
Up until the police stopped us. They'd taken him from the car, and his words was to me, well, don't say anything. And I made an excuse that I had been shopping and the shopping trolley had banged into my thumb and was damaged.
Yep.
I'd been sitting in my car, driving, while his mum was on the phone, while he'd blackened my eye. And he'd made out to his mum that he was reaching to open the car window. No.
Fucking coward, man. Well, Dot, you're doing well, by the way, right? You're really well here.
It doesn't matter.
Makes me feel sick.
It didn't matter what I wore. I came downstairs with a pair of leggings on. I got the biggest, and I mean the biggest kick up my backside. And I thought I'd broke my back. That's how bad it was. All because I wore a pair of leggings. I never went anywhere. And if I did, I was blind. And I mean by that, I was not allowed to look either side of that road. I was never allowed to look or speak to anyone.
Daughter, remember that you said to me when you approached a junction in your car?
He was my eyes.
He would be your eyes. I remember you exactly the way you said it to me. And when you said it to me, I looked at you and I was like, did I just hear you right?
Yeah, you did.
Because it's so alien to my mindset.
I had to start.
You had to sit and stare directly ahead, and he would look left and right in case there was some young guy or something stood at a pelican crossing, because that would immediately enrage him that you might have made eye contact with some young handsome guy.
I'm afraid so.
I remember you saying it to me, and it stopped me in my tracks, because I was like, I can actually picture him doing it.
And for a woman to start recovering herself back to making eye contact and having a conversation with a guy, that was the toughest thing a woman can ever do.
Yep. When I met him, Dot, I was slightly disappointed by him, because he was very sheepish in my company. I'm not an intimidating guy. Yeah, I've got a bit of a presence about me, and I'm confident, and I can speak.
Yeah.
But I'm never at the bully with anybody. And he was very coy and very sheepish. And it was immediately apparent to me that he lacked confidence in the company of a confident male that could outspeak him, outthink him, outsmart him. And he brought nothing to the conversation, nothing at all. And in hindsight, talking to his former editor, John, a lovely guy, John said, I've never seen him acting like that, doing other podcasts. He was totally weirding about you. He was sitting there and he slumped down into the seat, like almost submissively. I've been in the company of some real serious men over the years, and they present themselves in a certain way, and they're big personalities, and I can recognise it. And he slumped down into the chair, and I don't know, it was afterwards I was thinking about it, and I was like, well, that didn't really go the way I thought it was going to go, and he's not really the guy that I've been seeing what he portrays online.
What he portrays online is false.
It's completely false.
Nothing real.
It's completely fabricated. As I sit here right tonight, I'm exactly the same tomorrow lunchtime, Wednesday afternoon. this is me. This is the way I speak.
Yeah.
I try and be fair with everybody. I don't like getting MD putting their hand up my back, but I'm fair. I'm always fair. Anybody that knows me will say that about me. And I try and treat people decently. There was something amiss in his personality. He had absolutely no charisma at all. Nor did he have any conversation. He couldn't hold a sentence.
Stone cold, I'm afraid to say, and as times I do, as strange as it may sound, Alex, as times I think I feel sorry for this guy, but if I hadn't been with him,
I can understand you, Dot.
I would be drawn into that sympathy.
There are times when I've looked online and I've questioned myself and I've said,
yeah,
am I right about this guy? And I always go with my head and my heart. I play them off against each other and I try and find a kind of equilibrium. Yeah. And it's never let me down in life. And I say to myself a few times, am I right about this guy? Am I going after this guy and I'm really going to get this right? Because if I run this guy off the end of the world and I'm wrong, then I publicly have to denounce myself that I'm wrong. But I'm not wrong. I know I'm right. Today, right now, I know I'm 100% right about this guy. I've read everything. I've pursued people that have wrote little subtle tales and comments and comment sections. I've contacted people. I've linked the bits of the jigsaw. And then when I add that to the work John and Donna's done and to the work that other people have done, and link all the pieces of the jigsaw together, it is an absolute horror show.
There is plenty
in conducting himself.
Yeah, there's plenty of evidence there.
It's
about myself.
Massive.
And there is police footage on body camera.
Yeah, there is. And I know that the police asked you to testify against them.
That's right. Yeah.
And quickly tell us. I know the answer, but quickly tell the audience why you decided not to testify against Heggie.
Yeah. I'd came home from work that evening. I can remember having my uniform on. I'd started a new job and I headed to the bathroom and it just all kicked off. Bear in mind, there was recordings placed in either side of my neighbouring homes, voice recorders placed in their houses because of the extent of what was going on behind the closed doors. The lady next door, her little boy slept with her. He was frightened because of the outbursts. And the police wanted her to put a statement in and she declined because of the repercussions and the comeback, if there was any. She had a young family, lovely lady, lovely couple.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't know anything that day apart from just going into the bathroom and the door just barged open with a number of police, and my landlady, which I was renting the property at the time. And I was sitting on the bath edge just in bits. And bear in mind, I was healthy, fit and well. I was about 6 stone wet through at this point, weak as water. She asked me for permission if she could turn on a body cam, and I said yes. And we got into depth. The police were in the other room with him. It's no, sir, yes, sir. Yes, sir. No, sir. I thought, how dare you speak like that in there? So they videoed it all, videoed what I had to say, and they wanted to charge him, take him away from the house and charge him. And it's all on police video camera, and me refusing for him to be taken away to be charged with assault.
Dot, I've spoke to you so many times, and when I come off the phone to you, I always feel like phoning you straight back again to ask you if you're all right.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Because I feel sick that by going out for a couple of dates with somebody, you had the worst year of your life at the hands of a manipulative, coercive, narcissistic beast.
I'm going to say this to any lady or any gentleman, it happens to them.
Oh, it does, aye, definitely.
When someone is saying, just kill me to get out of this misery what I'm in, that is serious.
That's deadly serious.
It is serious. And when a police lady, an undercover police lady, that thing does not know about that, because he wouldn't allow the curtains to be open. I stepped outside my front door. Yes, my front door. 2 minutes. And there was a voice shouted, Dorothy. And I looked over and she just unzipped her jacket. And she was an undercover police lady. She wanted to leave, asked me to leave the property within half an hour, go to a friend's, it doesn't matter where, we need him out. Because the next time we're called, you'll be coming out in a body bag.
And that policewoman tried really hard to get you.
She did.
She did.
Yeah, she did.
You've told me this many times. Always the same version. And that policewoman is still a policewoman. And, you know, all of these people that witnessed all of these events can all be got to. They can all be traced. 90% of them can be traced fairly easily. Everybody knows what went on, Dot. But the public don't know. And that's, we need to reach out and we need to get through the very last of them.
My hometown, yeah, certainly Alex and my hometown certainly knew what was going on.
Yeah, they know. I know that they know. I know that your community know. Everybody knows.
They've witnessed it. Yeah.
When did you talk to us quickly about?
Yeah.
How, I know that we're getting on for an hour now, and we said we were going to try and tie it up, but we're going to be another 20 minutes anyway, and we may as well just strike while the iron's hot. You're doing brilliant. How did the relationship come to an end, Dot?
Yeah, I think the police were really on the guard at this point. Is it the CPS though? The PS was in one of my neighbours' houses, my adjoining neighbour. The guy who he was racially abusing at the time. Yeah. Lovely guy. Lovely guy. But he just had something about him. Didn't like him. And then it just began, was I in a relationship with him? Why am I going out in the backyard? It didn't matter how old they were, what they looked like. Yeah, I think the police had a close eye on him at that point, Alex. For my welfare, if anything, they could see how downhill I was and how low I was. I was just making myself up to work and back. And that was my daily existence, to work and back.
I'm aware how well known he is to the police, Dot.
Yeah, very.
It's amazing what you can find out.
Really?
A lot of ex-servicemen transition into the police, carry on their pensions.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how many ex-servicemen I'm still in touch with. So I know exactly how he's regarded.
Yeah.
You know, and he's not regarded as a normal criminal. There's a word for him. He's not of normal criminal element. Do you know what I mean? We know what he is, and he's not viewed like the guy that, you know, does this or that, or the tour I got the street that rings cars. Or he's viewed very, very differently. And we all have an opinion of the police, but the police also all have an opinion of those types of people. They're the worst of criminals. They're despicable human beings.
Yeah. I'll just clarify one thing, Alex.
Yeah.
And the no further actions. It was done itself by not putting it any further. There was plenty of witnesses that wanted no part in this person because of the threatening behaviour towards myself. Will he come and get them? I'm not frightened.
Yeah, I get it.
No man will ever lay hands on me again. No man. You're a bully, an abusive.
So for anyone that's listening, to clarify, an NFA, which Dot's talking about, is on his acro. It's a no further action. It's what the police do when they believe, when the CPS, the Crown Prosecution Services, believe that they can not get a 60 or 70% chance at success for a prosecution.
It's 70%. It's a 70% chance of conviction, but the law isn't the same in Scotland.
I know there's a difference, but I'm just trying
Big difference. It's really unfortunate that Dot was over the border. It must have been a great shock to Decca to find that it was very different up here. And by Jove, it is. So he would have just been removed from the property, and Dot wouldn't have even had we spoke about this, didn't we, Dot? It's really, she's been failed so badly by police procedure. Mind-boggling. It's abusive. It's invalidating, and it's abusive in itself.
But we know this anyway, Donna, because you and I have spoke about the microscopic percentage of rape cases that actually result in convictions.
Well, and there's a microscopic number that are actually reported.
Yeah.
So if we I think this calls for a bit of a flowchart, really, just so that people realise this isn't your shame. It isn't your shame. This is the establishment's. This is the establishment's shame. I'm angry. You both know how angry I am about this.
Yes,
I think Dot really needs to speak to the set, and anybody else that has been impacted by this. The Centre for Women's Justice are more than conversant with Derek Gordon Heggie, and anybody that's hearing this that has got similar experiences with him or somebody else. You don't have to necessarily prove that you're telling the truth, because often is the case. Interview techniques can eke out information, and I don't feel that Dot was afforded that possibility. Her sitting on the side of the bath in Cumbria, and the police officer being up plain clothes on the other side of the street, calling for her to putting the onus on Dot is absolutely bloody unacceptable. It's unacceptable, especially when they understand coercive control. And Dot, I am so proud of you for tonight, because you're still living with all of this. And I think this is one of the reasons why we're told all the time hardly any rapes end up in conviction. Well, I can't even remember off the top of my head what today's figures are. During COVID, the figures changed massively, where people weren't able to leave their house because of COVID. So all the stats of, say, 5 years ago, they've all changed. And you did get out. And what you just said about no man will ever put their hands on me again. There's a lot of people standing behind you, And I think I can speak for myself, Alec, and John, and probably at least 90% of the chat, and the other 10% is probably Decca. We will support you.
Sorry, Donna.
100%.
Sorry.
People have got to remember, where did I go after he left? I just want to say I was left homeless.
Yeah, the aftermath.
Yeah, the aftermath. I was evicted. Yep. The deposit I couldn't receive back because of the damage, and I mean the entire content, apart from a lampshade and the television, was left in that property. There was doors fisted through. My fridge freezer was a brand new fridge freezer. It was like a dartboard with fists, and I was standing there while he done that.
And he also left you tens of thousands, didn't he?
Sorry, Alex.
He also left you with tens of thousands of debt. He left you with a massive debt.
The car was so damaged. The speedo was working. The power steering was jiggered. Everything about it. The tyre I was running on, because I wasn't allowed to, remember, to go to a garage to get it fixed.
In case you had to deal with a man.
Yeah, because I had to deal with a man.
And this is the guy that's telling us every day how confident he is in himself.
I'm the confident one now. I'm sitting here and I'm telling my story.
Donna's brought in some really, really important points there about how low down the spectrum these crimes are viewed by the CPS and the justice system. It's diabolical. I don't have the words, right, guys? I don't have the words to tell you how much that saddens me.
Yeah.
That abusers, sex offenders, women beaters get passes every time, just like that, and they get to walk the streets, and they get to come onto public platforms like YouTube and tell unsuspecting members of the public that they're good men.
Get a job, Alex. That's what I say. I had a mini stroke due to this. I was off for 3 weeks. I got off by my ass and I went back into work, where I could have just gladly sat on my ass and done nothing about it.
Dot.
Yeah.
That's not you, right?
That's exactly what I was just about to say.
That's not
absolutely.
You, Right? You're never going to be beaten. And Dot, listen, you were never beat by this guy. He's a bully. Before he's anything, he's a bully.
Yeah.
He can't bully men, but he can bully females, right? So, as a collective, we will remove his opportunity to do that again. We will. I gave you my word. We will. We will succeed, because good always beats evil. He's not got the savvy to beat us, Dot, okay? So
when
he will be
exposed. Sorry, Alex. When you come onto a public platform, please make sure you tell the truth.
Definitely.
Don't be making money off the victims.
You'll be scrutinised. You'll be scrutinised. Every word you say will be dissected. I've experienced that when I was exposing stuff in Glasgow. Every word scrutinised, dissected, analysed, rehashed and thrown back in my face.
Yeah.
Always by faceless trolls. Never ever anyone under their own name, which I trade under, because I want full accountability and I want full traceability. And if somebody has a gripe with me, I'm easy to contact. Anyway, Dot.
I'll just pop it on charge, Alex.
That's okay. When we spoke about the aftermath, Dot.
Yeah.
We don't even need to elaborate, because we know the effect that he's had on you and is having on you 10 years down the line. Dot.
Yeah.
What would your message be to survivors of Derek Gordon Heggie and any woman that's out there just now in an abusive relationship with a horrible individual who could be treating them like he treated you, but particularly to people that have been at the hands of Heggie? What's your message to them, Dot? This is your chance.
If you ever, please, mark my word, if you ever have a relationship with him, please do your checks. The checks are in the police station. It can be given to you. Do not, and I mean do not, go anywhere near. That's all I'll have to say.